into a well. He rubbed the back of his neck. There was always something eerie about abandoned homesteads, even when there weren't human remains lying at the bottom of an old well. But right now, he felt a little spooked, even as he told himself there couldn't be any connection between the two cases. Standing, he walked back to his patrol SUV and slipped in behind the wheel and out of the wind. Taking out his phone again, he called up the Cardwell Ranch case. The story had gone national, so there was an abundance of information online. As he read through the stories, he felt a familiar prickling at the nape of his neck. Waco didn't know how much time had passed when he looked up to see a Division of Criminal Investigation van tear up the dirt road toward him. Behind it, storm clouds blackened the horizon. This part of Montana felt as far away from civilization as he could get. But in truth, it was only a few miles north of the Gallatin Valley and the city of Bozeman, one of the fastest-growing areas of the state. He liked that there were still places that time seemed to have forgotten in Montana. Places where a person could spend a day without seeing another person. Places developers hadn't yet discovered. Waco often found himself in those places, because that was where a person could get rid of a body. As the DCI van pulled up next to his SUV, he climbed out and felt that familiar prickling again. His instincts told him that the person in the bottom of this particular well hadn't accidentally fallen in. If he didn't have an old murder case on his hands, then his name wasn't Waco Johnson. Chapter 2. Ella Cardwell sat at the large kitchen table in the main house on Cardwell Ranch, as she had done for almost 30 years. She tried to listen to her mother and Aunt Dana discuss the ranch garden and what they would be canning over the next few weeks. But a tomboy who preferred being outside with the critters, Ella had never been interested in what went on inside the ranch house. Since college, she'd made her living wrangling with her cousins, Brick and Angus. Until recently, both had fallen in love and settled down, leaving her at loose ends. She'd returned to the ranch, where there was always plenty of work to be done, and moved into one of the small cabins on the mountain overlooking the spread. This morning, she was waiting for her cousin to pick her up. The two were driving south to buy a new bull, and Angus was late. Ella noticed that her mother didn't seem to be paying any more attention to the canning plan than she was. Stacy Cardwell was staring out the kitchen window, as if a world away. It was a look Ella had seen all her life. Her mother had secrets. Even at a young age, Ella had sensed something dark in her mother's past. When she was older, Ella had tried to get her to talk about it, but Stacy had always brushed off her concerns and questions, denying anything had ever been wrong. Her mother had brought her to Cardwell Ranch when she was a baby. Ella had never known her father. The ranch and her extended family were all she'd ever known. Over the years, her mother had occasional relationships with a man, but none that had led to marriage. Not that Stacy hadn't been married before. Her mother's apparent wild years weren't something the family talked about. Just as they didn't talk about Stacy's disappearances for days at a time. No one knew where she went or why she'd left. Aunt Dana always said that Stacy just needed to get away sometimes. "Not away from you, Ella," her aunt would say, and hug her. "You're my sister's world, but we all need to escape once in a while." Except that Aunt Dana never had run away from the ranch or her children. Ella suspected that her mother was feeling restless again. She'd always sensed it long before it happened. She knew what it meant. Stacy was about to disappear, never warning anyone or even telling Ella where she'd been once she eventually returned. "Ella?" She realized Aunt Dana had asked her something. "Sorry?" Her aunt smiled. "I just heard Angus honk. He must be anxious to go pick up that bull. Didn't you say you were going with him?" She shot up from the table, nearly tipping over her coffee cup. "I'll take care of that. You better get going." Dana laughed. "Have fun."